Leontes was the king of a place called Sicily. His best friend was Polixenes, who was the king of another place called Bohemia. They had grown up together as friends. But when they became grown-ups, they had to go to their own lands to be kings. After many years, when they were married and had children, Polixenes came to visit Leontes in Sicily. Leontes was not very good at controlling his temper and was sometimes not very smart. He started to think that his wife, Hermione, liked Polixenes more than him, her own husband. Once he got this idea, he couldn't stop thinking it. He even told one of his helpers, Camillo, to put something bad in Polixenes' drink. Camillo tried to stop him and told him it was a bad idea. But since Leontes wouldn't change his mind, Camillo pretended to agree. Then Camillo told Polixenes about the plan to harm him. They ran away from Sicily that night and went back to Bohemia. Camillo stayed there as a friend and advisor to Polixenes. Leontes put the queen in prison. Their son, who was supposed to become the next king, became very sad and died because he was so upset to see his mother treated unfairly. While the queen was in prison, she had a baby. Her friend Paulina dressed the baby in nice clothes and brought her to show the king. Paulina hoped that seeing their innocent little daughter would make Leontes change his mind about the queen, who really hadn't done anything wrong. But Leontes refused to look at the baby. He told Paulina's husband to take the baby away on a ship and leave her in a scary and empty place. Paulina's husband didn't want to do it, but he had to follow the order. Then the queen was put on trial for being disloyal to Leontes and preferring Polixenes. But she had never thought of anyone except Leontes. Leontes had sent messengers to a god named Apollo to ask if he was right to be angry at the queen. The messengers were still on their way when the trial started. They arrived in the middle of the trial. The message from Apollo said, "Hermione is innocent, Polixenes is not to blame, Camillo is a loyal helper, Leontes is a jealous ruler, and if what is lost isn't found, the king will have no more children." Then a man came and said that the little prince had died. The poor queen heard this and fell down in a fit. Seeing this, the king realized how bad and mistaken he had been. He told Paulina and the ladies to take the queen away and try to help her. But Paulina returned quickly and told the king that Hermione had died. Now Leontes understood his mistake. His queen was dead, and the little daughter who could have comforted him was sent away to be hurt by wild animals. There was nothing left for him in life. He felt deep sorrow and spent many sad years in regret and apology. The baby princess was left on the shore in Bohemia, where Polixenes was the king. Paulina's husband never got back to tell Leontes where he left the baby. He met a bear and was killed on his way back to the ship. So he died. But a kind shepherd found the abandoned baby. The baby was wearing nice clothes and had some jewelry with her. There was a note pinned to her clothes, saying her name was Perdita, and that she came from noble parents. The shepherd and his wife, who were good people, took the baby home and raised her as their own child. She didn't have much education, but she had many good qualities and was different from other kids in the village. One day, a young man named Prince Florizel, the son of the good king of Bohemia, was hunting near the shepherd's house. He saw Perdita, who had grown up to be a lovely woman. He became friends with the shepherd and told him his name was Doricles, not revealing that he was a prince. He fell deeply in love with Perdita and started visiting her almost every day. The king of Bohemia couldn't understand why his son was often away from home. So, he sent people to watch him and discovered that the prince was in love with Perdita, the pretty shepherd girl. Polixenes, the king, decided to find out the truth himself. He disguised himself and went to the shepherd's house along with Camillo, who was also in disguise. They arrived during a sheep-shearing feast, and despite being strangers, they were warmly welcomed. People were dancing, and there was a peddler selling ribbons, laces, and gloves that the young men bought for their girlfriends. Meanwhile, Florizel and Perdita were sitting together and talking quietly. The king noticed Perdita's charm and beauty, not knowing she was Leontes' daughter. He said to Camillo, "She's the prettiest girl I've ever seen. Everything about her seems grander than her surroundings, too noble for this place." Camillo replied, "Indeed, she's like a queen among simple folk." Florizel then asked the strangers to witness his engagement to Perdita, but when the king revealed his true identity and forbade the marriage, saying he would harm Perdita and her father, everyone was shocked. The king left, but Camillo decided to stay behind because he was taken with Perdita and wanted to help her. Camillo had always known how much Leontes regretted his foolish actions, and he wanted to return to Sicily to see his old master. He suggested that Perdita and Prince Florizel should go there and seek Leontes' protection. They went, accompanied by the shepherd who had raised Perdita, and brought with them her jewels, baby clothes, and the paper attached to her cloak. Leontes welcomed them warmly. He treated Prince Florizel politely, but his attention was mainly on Perdita. Seeing how much she resembled Queen Hermione, he repeatedly said, "My daughter could have been as sweet a creature if I hadn't cruelly sent her away." When the old shepherd mentioned that the king had lost a baby daughter left on the coast of Bohemia, he realized that Perdita, the girl he had raised, might be that lost child. The king was overjoyed, embraced Perdita, and rewarded the kind shepherd. Polixenes had rushed after his son to stop the marriage, but upon discovering that Perdita was his old friend's daughter, he happily gave his approval. However, Leontes couldn't find complete happiness. He still mourned the loss of his beloved Queen Hermione, who should have been by his side to share in their daughter's joy. For a long time, all he could say was, "Oh, your mother! Your mother!" He sought forgiveness from the king of Bohemia, kissed his daughter and Prince Florizel, and expressed gratitude to the old shepherd. Then Paulina, who had been in favor due to her kindness to the deceased Queen Hermione, suggested something. She mentioned a statue she had commissioned in the likeness of the late queen. It had taken many years to complete and was crafted by the skilled Italian artist, Giulio Romano. The statue was kept in a private place. Paulina explained that she had been visiting it regularly since the queen's passing. She asked if the king would like to see the statue. Leontes, Polixenes, Florizel, Perdita, Camillo, and their attendants went to Paulina's house. A heavy purple curtain hid a corner where Paulina said the statue of the late Queen Hermione was kept. She was beautiful in life, and I believe her likeness in death surpasses anything you've seen before, Paulina remarked. That's why I keep it separate. But here it is, see for yourself. With those words, she pulled back the curtain, revealing the statue. The king stared at the statue of his late wife but didn't speak. I appreciate your silence, Paulina said, it emphasizes your awe. But tell me, does it resemble her? It's almost like her, the king said, although, Paulina, Hermione wasn't as wrinkled or old as this statue looks. Not by much, Polixenes added. That's the artist's skill, Paulina explained. He shows us how she might have looked if she had lived until now. Leontes couldn't look away from the statue. If I had known this image would evoke such grief and love, I wouldn't have shown it, Paulina regretted. But he replied, don't close the curtain. Don't look any longer, Paulina cautioned, or you'll think it's moving. Let it be, the king insisted. Wouldn't you think it was breathing? I'll close the curtain, Paulina said, otherwise, you might think it's about to step down. Sweet Paulina, Leontes said, make me believe that for 20 years. If you can handle it, Paulina agreed, I can make the statue move, make it come down and hold your hand. You might think it's through dark magic, though. Whatever she does, I'm content to watch, the king said. Amid the crowd's admiration, the statue left its pedestal, descended the steps, and embraced the king. He held her face and kissed her repeatedly because it wasn't a statue, it was the real Queen Hermione herself. Paulina had hidden her all these years, and Hermione had refused to reveal herself to her husband until she knew the fate of her lost baby. Now that Perdita was found, she forgave Leontes and their past troubles. Being together again felt like a wonderful new beginning for their marriage. Florizel and Perdita got married and enjoyed a long, joyful life. For Leontes, all his years of suffering were worth it for the moment he felt his true love's arms around him once more, after enduring prolonged pain and sorrow.